What's up, Bearheart Nation? How's it going out there? I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving if you celebrated it in the United States. And I wanted to make this video to talk briefly about serialized novels and some things coming up and moving into the holiday season and what to expect over the month of December. So as we get started, the first thing I wanted to talk about briefly is that I've started streaming on Twitch again. So I started up on actually Thanksgiving night. I had been thinking about it for a while and I decided I'm just going to jump back in and start streaming again. Basically, I'm playing games, I'm hanging out, I'm chatting, I'm talking about my book. I've spent a lot of time on Thursday and Friday talking about serialized novels and kind of the same topic I'm going to be talking about here, but just in a different format. So if you want to hang out live on Twitch, I stream most of the time. I'm not really not planning on setting a schedule, but I am planning on streaming quite a bit, especially as we go into December. So if that's something that you want to hang out, you want to have some fun, it's another way to just do some cool stuff. Head over to Twitch. It's twitch.tv/JoshBearheart. I'll put that down in the description below. And something else that kind of goes along with that. So I started putting these together this morning. So if you're not aware, over the past 8 months, since April basically, I have been putting out postcards every single month on Patreon. So basically, the people sign up on Patreon at the $7 tier and above get a monthly postcard from me, and it's personalized. I'll put something on the back, I'll write it up, and then send it out. What I've done now, because we're coming to the end of 2022, this right here is going to be the December postcard that you can get if you sign up on Patreon. But what I'm going to be doing going into December as well, for anybody that's missed them throughout the year, that kind of thing, is I have a whole bunch right here that I'm going to be selling on the website. At the same time, I've got about probably 10 of them that I'm going to be giving away on Twitch over the month of December. And this is the 2022 collection, so it'll be all 8 postcards that are available. And these are one-time print runs, so essentially I printed off 50 every month because that was the minimum amount that I could do. And there's only a couple that I gave away through Patreon. I gave a few away to friends and family, but other than that, I've got a ton left over. I actually have 41 stacks right here. So I've got a lot left over, and so I want to give 10 of them away over on Twitch over the course of December, and then the other 30 or so are going to actually be for sale on the website. So you'll be able to buy a collection. It'll be the 2022 Josh Bearheart collection of postcards. If you are into collecting that sort of thing, it's kind of my way of putting them out there and having something to do with them other than just sitting and collecting dust. Because I feel like, especially with this kind of situation, it's better to have it as a collector's edition, and that way people can collect them if they want to. And it'll be something that you can hang up and put on your wall or whatever you want to do with them. They will all be available on the website and over on Twitch. So if that's something that if you like the chance to win them, head over to Twitch. If you want the chance, if you just want to buy one of the 30 or so that will be available on the website, those will start showing up around December 1st is when I'm going to have the shop open for those. So I'll have more details on that probably in my next video after I've got it all opened up. So we'll go from there. Alright, so with all that out of the way, serial novels. So the reason I wanted to talk about serial novels, and I've been wanting to talk about them since I decided to kind of turn this into an author tube type of thing, is because when I first heard the term serial novel, it was a term I wasn't really familiar with, and I discovered it after I had started writing, and I had realized that, I was doing things a little bit differently than most of the people that I was finding. And I discovered one video that talked about serialized novels and the origins of them, going all the way back to the 19th century. And as a matter of fact, because I pulled up, because I have a terrible memory, I pulled it up on, I've got a screen over here that's got it listed with books like The Count of Monte Cristo, Treasure Island, there's Crime and Punishment, A Tale of Two Cities, War of the Worlds. It all started as serialized novels in the 19th century. And they were basically, they would be put out in magazines and newspapers, that kind of thing, and people would go and they would read them chapter by chapter, and then once it was complete, it would be released as a full book. And that sounded like such a really cool concept to me. even though I had already started, I was like, okay, this is cool, so this is what I'm doing. So then I tried to research more about serialized novels because I try to learn as much as I possibly can, and there wasn't anything. The closest I could find anytime I searched serialized novels was talking about Kindle-vella. So if you're not familiar, so Amazon has their book system called Kindle, which is basically their ebooks, and you can get it on any device. You got the Kindle app, you've got the Amazon Fires and stuff like that you can actually just read books on, and all of that's done through Amazon Kindle. Well, in 2021, they released something new called Kindle-vella. It's built into Kindle, but it's basically meant for people that want to release serialized content. Except it wasn't really marketed the right way. So basically, Kindle makes it so easy for anybody. That's why self-publishing has kind of blown up in the past few years, because Kindle's made it easy for self-publishing. Kindle-vella makes it even easier because you don't even have to write a whole book before you publish. You just publish it in what they call episodes. And so I think the confusion comes in when people start to think of serialized fiction as a television show. And in a way it kind of is, because you're getting a new episode, a new chapter every single week. But the thing is a lot of television shows, some actually run a full story week to week, but a lot of them have like their own little mini stories within each one before going on to the next one. And realistically, for most books, when you have a full novel, you have the very connected chapters. The chapters have little things that, you'll have events that happen in the chapters, but they're not holding away separate from the rest of the story. And so I think that confuses some people. But then also, because it's so easy. So I went on last week, I was curious, and I was like, doing research for this video, I was like, I'm going to check out Kindle-vella, and I'm going to see what kind of stories are on there, and maybe read a few and just see what they look like. So I went on, and I started reading. Now, first of all, when I went to the Kindle-vella main page, it has a whole bunch of books listed, and the first thing it does is it shows these are the recommended titles. And these are the ones that Amazon is recommending, because I haven't ever looked at Kindle, so it's like these are just what's up there. 8 titles, 5 of them were under the genre of erotica. I'm like, okay, this is where we're starting now, huh? And I started looking for thrillers, and most of the thrillers, which is what I'm writing, is a mystery thriller. It was hard to kind of dig down the layers to get to what I was searching for as far as thrillers are concerned. And then I found a couple, and I started reading through, and you get the first 3 chapters on Kindle-vella for free, so it's like, I'll read the first 3 chapters of a couple of these novels and see what they look like. And it was painful. And I was reading the top stories, the ones that Kindle is telling you to read, like these are the best ones. And it was so hard to read through them, because what it was people who were looking to make money fast. Because, and at least from the videos that I've seen on YouTube, everything that's pushing Kindle-vella is pushing it as a get-rich-quick scheme. The idea, and at first, maybe for the first few successful authors, they might have made some money quick. But realistically, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. And you have people who don't care about writing, who aren't authors, who don't ever desire to necessarily be an author, that are writing on Kindle-vella because they have, most people have a story they want to tell, or they have something they can make up as a story. So they get on there, they start writing. There's no editing, there's no proofreading. It's clear they haven't really gone back and looked over it. They've used a spell checker and maybe grammar editor, but they haven't really gone back and proofread the stories. And they're hard to read, for me at least. So I'm seeing this and I'm like, okay, well, there's this really low bar on Kindle-vella, which leads to lower quality content, and it makes it harder for serious authors, people who actually take the time who take the steps to go through and edit and proofread and get others to help them with proofreading and that kind of thing. Those people that are serious about it makes it harder for them to break through. And any aspirations, any ideas I had of ever going on Kindle-vella died the minute that I looked up the website and started actually reading through everything, because there's no way I would want any of my works on Kindle-vella. And I really don't want them on the Kindle store necessarily. I might, once I fully publish it, have it on the Kindle store, but I'm going through my website. And that's something that I think I'd like to really kind of push on, because not a lot of people talk about having your own website. So when I first decided that I wanted to really get serious about writing this book and going through with all of this other stuff, I already had my website that I had established for photography, and I kind of morphed it into a brand website. And part of that brand is my author, my books, writing books and being an author. So it was only natural to put my book on the website and put it out there as a way for people to kind of purchase it and be able to read it as it's written, as a serialized format, but then also buy it as an ebook, buy it as a print book when it's all said and done, because those things will be available on there. Now, the difference between Kindle-vella and having your own website is there's an initial cost with your own website, and not everybody has the expertise or the money to be able to set all of that up. I was lucky enough at the time that I had both things when I first set everything up, so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And this is before I even knew about Kindle-vella or anything to do with Kindle. I hadn't really researched anything. So I set all of this up, and I would highly suggest, if you're out there, if you're an author, you're looking to break into fiction or nonfiction, no matter what it is, that you would set up your own website. Even if you're not going to sell books on it, it's good to have a website, an author website, for people to come and find you and learn more about you and learn more about what you've written, that kind of thing. And I highly suggest, if you're capable, setting something up that you can actually sell. Now, one of the biggest differences between my website, for instance, and Kindle-vella, when you're on Kindle-vella, they have tokens. And you use a certain number of tokens to unlock each new chapter past chapter 3. And there were some novels, some books that I looked at there that were 150 chapters or 150 episodes in or more. And the comments that I was reading, because people can leave comments on there, so you can kind of go through and kind of figure out what people are thinking. And the comments I was reading on those longer ones were things like, I could have bought 2 books for the price of this. I could have, this was a waste of money. I spent way too much time and effort reading this. Because when you first invest in a serialized novel, when you first invest in somebody who's writing something like that, you don't know what you're going to get. They could stop writing after a couple of chapters. You could get, with Kindle-vella, you have to have a minimum of 10 chapters ready to go. So they could get 10, 11, 12 chapters in and just poof, disappear. You'll never see them again. And so you spent some coins, you spent some tokens on getting to that point, investing yourself in the story, and now you're stuck. You don't know what the story's going to be like. The flip side of that is the people who write for 150, 200 episodes, where you start to get invested in the story. You get 10 episodes, 20 episodes, 30 episodes, 40 episodes in, and you're really invested in the story, and it becomes a sunk cost fallacy of you've already put so much into it, you want to see where they're going with it, you want to see an end, and not everybody has an end in mind, because endings are hard. I've got an ending in mind for my book, but executing that's going to be the difficult part, because nobody wants to end their work, and you want to make sure when you do end it, that you end it properly so that people are satisfied with the ending. But not everybody has an ending in mind, and they'll just keep writing and writing and writing, and you never know where it's going to end. And the fact that it's a serialized novel, or that it's serialized fiction, means that if they don't have an end in mind, you could be stuck, especially on Amazon, on Kindle-vella, you could be stuck spending a lot of money. Like one person said, they could have bought 2 books for the price of what they'd spent so far reading that story. And that's a lot of money to sink into something. If you're enjoying it, there are things that have a monthly cost to them, that are, the games and that kind of stuff, that if you're enjoying it, you don't mind spending the money monthly. But if you aren't enjoying it, you just keep doing it and keep spending on it because the sunk cost fallacy, well, now you run into a problem. So if I'm being completely honest, I will say I 100% think that serialized fiction is head and shoulders above regular book reading when it's done right. And the reason I say that is because if you've ever watched a television show that gets good week after week after week, and new things keep coming in, and you get invested in the show, you wind up, if the show's executed properly, you wind up with an awesome beginning, and you wind up with a great story throughout, and at the end of the show, or at the end of the episode, you're wanting more. And that's the same thing with serialized fiction. Especially, I think it works out really, really good for mysteries and thrillers, because for me, at the end of every chapter, I've got a cliffhanger of some kind. I've got something in there. At the end of the chapter, you get done reading, you're like, oh, what happens next? And that's kind of the fun of it, and it makes you want next week. It makes you wait for next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. When it actually releases, it'll be something that you'll get instant gratification. You'll be able to read just front to back from chapter 1 all the way to the end of it without stopping and without wondering. From a sense of like book clubs, which I don't think book clubs are a thing anymore. I think there might be book clubs out there. If you're in a book club, let me know. But for something like a book club, if you meet once a week, serialized fiction's awesome, because you don't risk somebody reading ahead, so everybody's on the same page, everybody's read the same stuff, so each week you can meet and discuss the next chapter, whatever chapter just came out. It's kind of like people discuss television shows around the water cooler at work. You can meet and actually discuss what happened and go through, especially with a book, because unlike a television show, you might meet around the water cooler at work and talk about a television show, and you walk away and there's not really a whole lot to discuss. But a book, when executed properly, has a lot of little intricate details, and it has a lot of things. I know for the journal, I'm writing a lot of really subtle things in there, and a lot of things that might be hard to catch on the first read. And getting together as a group where you can have multiple people that are all reading it, where everybody can say, oh, did you notice that? Oh, did you see this? Like, oh, this was a reference back here. Like, those kind of things are, I think in my mind, would be a lot of fun to do, to have that ability to kind of go back and read that kind of stuff, and have other people to bounce things off of, because nobody's going to catch, no single person is going to catch everything I'm putting in. But if you have multiple people, they can catch all of that. And I think so that's where serialized fiction, I think, is a lot more fun, and really kind of brings it forward to the 21st century from where it started. Because, when it started out, it would have been more like a television show, I think, in some ways for a lot of people. But of course, in the 19th century, people didn't read, trying to think of it, reading wasn't as widespread. Not as many people knew how to read. So you didn't get quite as much going on. Nowadays, the level of education is much higher. People are reading more often. And even today, people are reading a lot. So you have more people that can kind of get together and enjoy the serialized stuff. And I think it would be great to see a comeback for serialized fiction, especially when it's done properly. I think it has to be done properly by somebody who's a serious author, and not just somebody that's in it to make some money. A serious author is going to be somebody who's trying to get the word out, who's trying to talk about it, who's trying to spread the word, and not just somebody that will write some words down and upload them to Kindle-vella every week and hope that people spend tokens. Like, that's one of the big things keeping me from Kindle-vella, plus the fact that if it's on my website, I can do things like right now the first 4 chapters are free, the first 5 chapters are fixing to be free here soon. So you'll be able to read 5 chapters of the book and decide whether you like it enough to purchase the rest of it. And when you purchase it, you also get access to the ebook for free, and you get a discount on the physical copies. And the only way I can offer those kind of things is by doing it through my website, because other websites are more restrictive on that. I've already picked out my printer, and so if I were to sell my book through my printer, they're going to take a cut, but they also control the price. If I sell the book through my website, I have to buy inventory, but I control the price, and it allows me to do things like offer bigger discounts if I want to. I can do giveaways, all of those kind of things. So that's all stuff to keep in mind when it comes to your own website and serialized fiction as a general form. If you're looking to become an author, if you want it, It'll hold your feet to the fire. That's one of the biggest things is promising to release a chapter every Monday is a big deal. It gives me a deadline, a self-imposed deadline, and it gives an expectation out there that I have to meet and that the readers are going to be expecting. Now, it takes some time to build the trust with people to say that, okay, he actually is releasing a chapter every week, especially when you're brand new at it. But once you've established that you are capable of doing that and you hold true to that promise every week, people will come back and they'll read it and they'll enjoy it. And you've proven that you are serious about it. And especially, don't start writing a serialized book unless you have an end in mind. You have to write it the same way that you would write a normal novel, where you would sit down and plan out, this is what I want in the beginning, this is how I'm going to do the story, and then this is going to be the end. You have to do the same thing, and you want to keep it along the same lines as far as length for different types of books. But once you have all of that down, you can start writing, and you can get a chapter out, and you can get a second chapter out, and a third chapter out, and you can start promoting it and get people to read it. So I would highly encourage you, if you are looking to start writing, to try serialized fiction and try to do it on your own website or blog or however you want to do it to get started. Just to kind of get the juices flowing and get practice at it, because it does really give you a lot, and it gives you the opportunity for feedback. That's the other part of this is that you have the opportunity to get feedback from people and incorporate that feedback in the story as it's being written. So, like, if somebody says, hey, I really like this thing, or I think this is really cool the way this is going, or maybe this, I think this should go this way. If you get some feedback like that, you can start actually incorporating that feedback into your story as you go. And that's a lot of fun, because then people can help you write it. So, I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover as far as serialized fiction and serialized novels are concerned. What do you guys think? Have you ever read serialized fiction? Had you ever heard of serialized fiction? Would you be interested in writing it? Let me know all that down in the comments below. Go check out my debut novel that I've been talking about this whole time over on my website. I'll link that down below as well. And like I said at the beginning, if you want to hang out live, if you want to be a part of the community, we are hanging out on Twitch most of the time. I'm probably live right now. So go check me out on Twitch. There's going to be some things coming up in the month of December that's going to involve some writing stuff that I'm going to be doing. That's going to allow the community to help kind of write a book. So, or not a book, but a short story. So we'll see. That should be interesting when that comes up. But there's a lot of fun stuff planned. And like I said, giveaways. Don't forget, I've got these that are going to be given away on Twitch. There's 8 in a set. And I've got, like I said, 10 sets I'm going to be giving away. 30 sets are going to be available to purchase on the website starting after December 1st. So more details on all that will be coming. More details will be coming in the Twitch streams. So like I said, go check that out. I think that's all I've got for now. I do want to thank you all for watching. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.